Hey folks, welcome back to Maypole Farm, and the Fendt has been in the garage for a little bit of a fettle, and it's much better to drive now. They changed all of the fluids and things, and gear changes are much smoother now, which is lovely. It means we don't need to play with manual gear changes enabled, which is quite nice. So, yep. If you're curious, I went into the XML and significantly, we're not going to fit those in there, are we? Significantly adjusted the gear shift times. So in comparison to a similar age Giants vehicle, the time to shift between gears was about triple, I think, what Giants use. The time to shift between groups was infinitely more because Giants have it set to 0, and this had it set to 1 second. So yeah, that made it obviously much worse for doing things. By doing things, I mean changing gear. Because obviously when it was changing between groups, rather than it being instant, it would take quite a long time. So, anywho, we are going to drop the corn. So, if you didn't watch it, sorry, canine interruptus. As I was saying, if you haven't seen it, I did a test looking at the yield for various harvest states of chopping corn. You can chop corn from state 5, so we could have done it last month. We can do it this month. We can do it next month. If we do it next month, we will get essentially the same amount of corn. Looking at the growth calendar, though, we could plant barley or wheat straight away, and get that growing rather than then having to wait for oats. So I think we should do that. We're going to lease the forage harvester. They're going to deliver the forage harvester to the farm for us because, you know, that makes more sense. They've seen my driving. They don't want me driving it on the roads. They just want me to use it on the farm and try and minimize the damage. So we're going for the Rotzel mash because it's cheap. And honestly, we don't have a huge amount to harvest, so it kind of makes sense. Leave them. I still need to sort number plates. Been another hectic week. I might try and do it at the weekend. I've set something up which is hopefully going to make it easier for me to do little jobs like that, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. Haven't looked yet at replacing the little Deutz. I think the cows have still got food. Yeah, they've still got food. Set that as well. So we could get some silage additive. We should definitely do that. Actually, of course they delivered silage additive with the forage harvester. Why wouldn't they? I'd randomly just hammering all of the buttons. Let's go with 20,000 litres for now. So we're going to use Courseplay, which should be interesting because I think I've done a Courseplay forage harvest before in FS25, and probably what I'm going to do is, once we've got this up and running, switch to recording this in a more voiceover style, because this is probably going to take a while, I would guess. I'm not certain, but to my assumption, let's go for 3 headlands with some overlap. Have a rounded corner. We'll have a couple of rounded corners. Why not, eh? Generate me a course, please. How does that look? I can't see it now. First waypoint, off you go. We'll jump in the Fendt. Now, ideally, I'd have a bigger trailer for forage harvesting, and if we get so that it's mega frustrating, we'll lease a bigger trailer for forage harvesting. But for now, we'll go with what we've got, because what we've got is what we've got. Means we're not laying out more cash. But equally, only having a 20,000 litre trailer is going to get pretty annoying. So I have to see how things go, you know. One of those things. Both doing 6 miles an hour. This should work with a bit of luck. So yeah, did the testing because I was curious, and essentially I would say chop at state 5, get the field cleared earlier, get, you know, if you're playing with seasons, getting it chopped in September, you get grass in, you might not get a cut, but you'll be in a really good place for getting a cut as a cover crop before, and get this, the full grain tank. That's because my trailer's full. But I don't get this. I had this issue when I was doing the tutorial, but the issue was the same. The trailer filled up. We are going to need a bigger trailer, and I need to work out how the heck I can turn this thing around here. I just lose this corner of crop. But I have crop destruction turned off, so we won't. Oops. It's going to be one of those days. Let's exploit the fact we have crop destruction turned off. And let's lease ourselves a bigger trailer, because that is not going to work. Um, 12,000 litres at a time is not going to do the job. Mustard is not being cut at that rate. What we're going to do is, no idea how much we're going to get off this food. I could look to some extent, obviously, but that would be kind of cheaty, so we're not going to do that. Well, not really cheaty, but you know. Let's drop that there. Let's get the dealer to deliver us a better trailer for forage harvesting. £37,500, £50,000. What's that going to cost us? At least £2,500. Okay, that's not too bad. 50,000 litres. We like the sound of that. We like the sound of that. Yep. Police. Bosh. Bosh. That doesn't look too big for our tractor. Get rid of the drop-off point. And, yeah. 5 times, well, 4 and a bit times the capacity will be much, much better. And it'll actually be quite good for compacting when it's full. Just hope we don't have to try and turn it around again like the last attempt. Right, let's go. Try and embarrass ourselves a little bit less this time. See if we can make a bit more progress. That would be rather lovely. Yeah, just make the sit on their rear quarter and that, because realism is key. We'll even go in cab. Yeah. Oh, it's even shooting it into the right spot in the trailer. We like it. We like it a lot. Just remember to go round the corner and not turn off the cruise control. And keep up with the chopper. That would be a good idea too. And yeah. Awesome stuff. 20% full, so we should at least get around the field. It might be worth us breaking off as we pass the field exit, tipping, see how full we are. If we're more than 50% full, I think we'll do that. Yeah, that's actually... Oh, we can't see the yield, obviously, because we're not in the chopper. That makes sense, doesn't it? Get to the chopper. Yeah, that makes sense. But we'll try and clear up the corners afterwards, if we can easily. If we can't, we won't, because, you know, that's how we roll here. Life's short, just peel them carrots. Yeah. I am very tempted to just peel off here. Speaking of carrots, look at the segues. Segues for days. And yeah, let's peel off here. Go tip. Because that way, hopefully, we can get around the whole field. And not have a problem on the second headland. That would be rather nice, wouldn't it? So, since we were last here, Giants have announced the content for the November DLC drop. It feels crazy that we're already on the 3rd DLC of the game, because I really don't remember what the first one was. And maybe we're not. Maybe Prairies and Plains was the first DLC? Anywho, they've announced what the November DLC is going to be. Or some of it, because it's got the map in it, which is a Scottish map. We were expecting a UK map, I think, from the pictures that... the one picture that had come out of the kind of... almost like cartoony picture they'd released. And I think there were some rumours about who the map maker was that Giants had got to create said map. From the little bits I've seen, the map looks good. I'm not sure about the fishing, to be perfectly honest. It's not for me, probably. I'd have rather seen them invest that development time, because, it's I say invest because development time is an asset. that has cost in adding features that more suit the way that I play the game. But, you know, some people will probably love it. But we're getting Highland cows, which is kind of cool. Now, it's probably just going to be another cow model. I didn't watch the video with sound on, but I doubt it's going to change how the gameplay works. Far more excitingly, older JCB tractor was shown in the clip. Who knows? Hopefully, really old JCB. I'm speculating now, but that would be awesome. You know, if they brought some of the stuff from the Modern Classics pack that MaxJS did, something like that, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see some really old JCB kit coming into the game, and it not be janky ass converts on crappy websites that I don't use. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm excited about the hairy cows coming, even though they're just going to be a different model, not a gameplay change. But with things like realistic livestock, then we don't need giants to do that. I'm excited about the old JCBs. It'll be cool to have a Scottish map. I don't care about fishing. The fact that adding boats, I guess, is interesting because it adds an interesting alternative thing to the game. Adding water vehicles, and I'm not saying that fishing is not farming. It's not the farming that we buy Farming Simulator for. If I want to play fishing, I'll play a fishing game that specialises in it, that probably does it much better. And I think that's the thing, for me anyway, because you can guarantee that FS fishing is not going to be, you know, a fishing North Atlantic or a fishing Barents Sea fishing. So if you want to play fishing in a game, play a fishing game, not a farming game. Just my opinion. But I think, you know, because they'll do it better because they specialise. But anyway, that's enough whinging, I guess. And we're actually getting through this relatively quickly. I'm kind of pleased. Maybe it won't be as long a job as I thought it would be. The bigger trailer is obviously helping rather a lot, which is cool. We've just done with the rounded corners. Give me a minute, mate. There we go. Not quite enough. There we go. I'm a bit out of practice. So, yeah, I'm going to carry on getting this done. Future me will be back to take you through the rest of the job, because that feels like the better way to get this done. So I'll be back with you almost like it's instantaneously, which it is for you guys. And so stupidly, I was talking earlier about DLCs and totally forgotten about the Nexat pack. It made such an impression on me that yeah, I'd forgotten about it until I was but to record this. I had wanted to do the kind of 2PC setup so I could have the drone Skycam thing, and so I was updating the other computer that I used to do that. Had to apply 3 game updates because I haven't used it in a while to play FS, and then had to install all of the DLCs because I have all of the DLCs on the computer that I do most of the gaming on. Realised the Nexat pack had come out, So totally forgot about that because it made such an impression on me. But then, obviously, maybe not obviously, Real Livestock mod is not multiplayer compatible. A few of the other mods that I have installed aren't, but I can drop those pretty easy. But obviously can't easily drop the Realistic Livestock mod. So I did what every sensible player would do, and I went into the mod desk and changed it from multiplayer false to multiplayer true. Don't do that. Genuinely don't do that. It's set false for a reason. And I figured because I was running it locally, it'd probably be okay. And just with me, it wouldn't load at all. So I could get it to load for just me, but whenever I tried to then join it from the second computer, the game just hung completely. It got stuck on the compiling shaders point. I don't know if that's down to Realistic Livestock or not, but yeah, it would not work. So don't try and do that. It doesn't work. But it was kind of funny because it would have been kind of nice to do the arty drone shot for this, but anyway, we have normal photography instead. The other thing that I'm trying is using the little tiny computer to record the voiceover. I'm really hoping that it's working and I don't have to do this twice, because that'd be really annoying. If I am, then if I had to, then we'll be talking about that instead. But yeah, so the next set pack was one of the deals. So we are now halfway through Season Pass 1. Essentially, I'm assuming we'll get Season Pass 2 with FS25 as well, because, you know, we seem to get 2 years worth of season passes and then they move on to a new game. I think there are a lot of people that would like 3 years of season pass, because it usually takes a few years for modders to get the really cool stuff done, although Arrow seems to be knocking it out of the park with his stuff. And I guess anyway, Giants could really afford to do that, because I'm sure it is a financial decision, is if Season Pass 3 was a bit more expensive. And personally, if Year 3 brought more than just some mod level machines most of the time, I wouldn't have a problem with that. It brought functionality in with the DLCs. I think that'd be really cool. But most of the time it brings mods to the game, essentially, that are paid for. And technically, Giants, that's against your terms of service. Very tongue-in-cheek, by the way, folks. But really, a lot of the DLCs are essentially fancy mods, with one big pack, you know, at the 3/4 year point. And I think it would be nice if they added a lot more functionality in as we went. But that's just me. I would be happy to pay more, and I do buy the season passes along with the one that I get as being a Giants partner. So yeah, I need more than one copy of the DLCs for what I try and do with how I make content. So yeah, I would still happily pay more if it came with more functionality, because we can download mods. So anywho, this worked surprisingly well. Courseplay did a cracking job. This trailer combo worked well with the Fendt. The gearbox is still a tad clunky, I'm going to admit. When I was doing the compacting in the silo with the trailer, the gear changes were still a little bit clunky, but it's an old girl, so you know, I can live with that. It really isn't going to be a massive hindrance, I don't think. And so we're going to have to plough this field. We're going to have to then get the barley planted pretty quick. I want to get the other field disked. that's going to go to grass and then corn. We probably need to get both fields limed and then nitrogened. It's going to be a busy October. Hopefully we can get it done in October. Yeah, lots to do on the farm, and then I'm guessing in November soybeans will be ready to harvest. We're going to have to hang on to those until the price is good, but yeah, it's all go, and it's kind of fun to have stuff to do. This really reminds me of what I enjoyed doing in the previous version of the game. And you might say, well, why are you recreating that? Because it was fun. And honestly, this game had got for me to the point where I wasn't having fun. And with the stuff that Arrow's added in with realistic livestock, I'm really enjoying that. I have yet to look at his realistic weather mod. The last I looked, actually, I'm lying, looked at it once. When I looked, there wasn't a lot of documentation as to how all of the functions worked, and that meant it was really hard to understand it quickly. So if that's changed, I'd be tempted to have a look at it, but when I looked at it, there wasn't a lot of documentation, and it's quite a complex mod, so I didn't want to just add it. And well, I tried to just add it to the Rotterdam Island save, and it's a very complex mod, and it kind of changes a lot of stuff, and there's the employment mod. Now that might be useful on here when things are quiet, because we could use it to earn some cash, although at the moment I'm enjoying doing the contracts. It has the benefit that we get stuff, so we'll see. But yeah, might be nice, earn a bit of spare cash. But generally, just very much enjoying this save, and it's recaptured, as I keep banging on about, my joy of playing the game. So one of the things that I've done so that I can make it easier to do bits between videos, obviously I've said it quite a bit, so I record all of this on one computer, edit on a different one, and then I have my laptop that I just mess about with casually. And so what I've done is the farm sim directory on the one that does most of my content creation is now set up to sync to a Google Drive, so that I can, whenever I want, grab this save and download it to the laptop and like sort out bits like the number plates, maybe do some contracts between videos, that sort of thing, and then upload it back to the Google Drive, and then it'll sync when I start again. That's the theory. We'll see how it works out, because it's a bit of a pain sometimes not having everything easily to hand. So yeah, but anyway, that's what I've done to try and make that process easier for me. Doesn't affect you at all, apart from if you watch the videos and you have an opinion on me doing bits between videos. I don't often do that. I'm not a fan of the Mr. CDP between videos. We've made £1 million doing contracts, and I'm not going to do that. Most likely it'll be I do the odd grass working contract, because we need to keep feed coming in, and I think if every video I was doing a hay contract or a silage contract, hoping we don't need to do silage contracts after, once this is sorted, but until we get our own grass field, I'm going to need to be doing that. And I think if I did that every video, it'd get boring. And whereas if in the evening I can sit and do a sneaky grass contract, it helps the save progress, and I think that's beneficial. So yeah, that's kind of why I've done it. It lets me do some of the admin-y faff things between videos and doesn't take up the time I have set aside to make videos. So, we're just getting a little bit of compaction done and a bit of leveling done. the way they've changed how piles behave between games, this doesn't work quite so well in terms of leveling. Compaction, yes. Leveling, not so much. The piles are a bit more reactive to tires and things than they were in previous iterations of the game. As kind of not quite scary, but it amazes me to think how long it is since I was doing this on Sandy Bay, doing very simple, using a Bailey trailer, making silage with Mace Plus back then. But it's coming. So if you missed the post in the Mace Plus Discord and the one that shared in my Discord, Mace Plus is coming this year. Made an announcement on the Mace Plus Discord. No news on Terra Life this year, but Mace Plus is coming this year. That's the only announcement. When? Don't know, but this year. So be patient, but yeah, but making maize silage with a Bailey trailer just really takes me back to Sandy Bay. First time playing with Maze Plus, and yeah, good memories. Good memories. We got a decent amount of silage so far, 170,000 litres. It's 60% compacted, which is quite nice because, I like to compact as I go generally to avoid having to do loads at the end because that can get a bit tedious. I remember on Greenlands, the Green Place, the £10 million debt challenge, and not compacting when I did the big field of maize silage and having to compact those two huge bunkers of silage. Not fun. Anywho, we are pretty much done with this field. So, well, basically, we are done. We're just on the little strip that was left. See, the clamp's not completely full. We're going to have even less next year, which I don't think is going to be a problem because we'll have grass next year as well, and we can do some silage with that. So we can mix things up a little bit. That'll be okay. And I want to rotate, at least alternate the fields until we get a bit more land. Yeah, so seems sensible to me to do that. I know crop rotation isn't enforced in FS. Again, it seems like the model that does that mod is a bit quiet at the moment from what I've seen. So we'll just, I like doing it anyway. Again, going back to 19, because it's the only version I played with real seasons, where my crop rotation for maize was maize and then grass and maize and grass and repeat, because that worked really well because you'd get a nice boost, and it works with the timing. That's not going to work so well on here because we've only got one other field, so we can't rotate any crops in that. Otherwise, that's what I'm doing, particularly if you're chopping at state 5. You'd be planting your grass in September, growth October, November. You might get a carpet before winter. And then you might get a cut before you plant again. Then the alternative would we do just done wheat. We could put in a cover crop. We could put OSR in, and we could plant oats in the summer, in spring, to give that ground a break until we can afford more. Just saying some of the least stuff until we can afford more land. So that might be a better option because we do need a decent amount of silage. That might be a better option. Yeah. And we might get the cover crop payment off of precision farming that way. Maybe we do that. So I'm just going to lease a compactor level. I've only got the base game ones installed at the moment, so we'll just go with those to save me having to leave the game. I should get some modded ones installed just because that'll probably make things a bit easier in the future. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm kind of pondering actually doing that, just because of how much feed we are going to want. And really we want more straw as well, but we could look at adding straw formations. Oop, that's gonna have to polish out. It'll be fine. It'll be right. And getting straw that way off of harvesting contracts. That might be a better option. Until we can expand the farm a little bit. Maybe we go for that. Yeah, so we've got about not quite a quarter of a million litres of silage off of there. But if you think the cows eat 4,000 litres a month, even if we're only aiming for 10 cows, that's 40,000 litres a month, which is 400, let's call it 450,000 litres of food a year. With silage being most of what they eat, we are not there. Hey, grass can obviously make up for that, and probably will with how big a field we're planning to have. But if I go to that much smaller field for maize silage, we're going to be struggling. And that's only with 10 cows. And I would like more. So I think it makes sense to expand that. Well, not expand. So I'm just trying to think what's a good order of operations. Partly from a realism point of view, because it's key. Bear with me here. I'm wondering if I'm just putting into manual gear mode because the shifting gears is making this slower. I want to fix it in a low range gear. We mulch the corn. We plant grass. We get a cut of grass off it in spring. We plough the grass in because you probably need to plough that in because of the type of crop. We then plant corn into the ploughed grass rather than ploughing now and then just like disking the grass in. I think that makes more sense. So we lease a mulcher, mulch the corn, always then disc the field as well, plant grass, plant OSR in the wheat field. And then when spring comes, we plant oats and corn. Plough the cornfield when we're dealing with the grass. I think that makes more sense. But you guys can let me know. There's a bit of time. There's a bit of time for you to let me know what you think on that one. Probably. Just thinking this video is probably going to come out on Sunday. I'm probably going to be recording again on Sunday. So there may not be much time. Who knows? Anywho, we are getting there with the compacting and things. This job didn't take anywhere near as long as I expected, which is quite nice. And using the leveler and the compactor, things are a lot better. It's much neater than using the trailer. Yes, the way they've changed how the driving in piles behaves, they've made them a lot softer, which is weird because driving on a windrow is like driving over concrete. But driving in a bunker is like driving in sand. Probably worth me adding in. I don't think I've got VCA installed yet. I had a look yesterday, maybe the day before, and it's still in the first alpha release, so it's not been updated in a long since the first release. Because kind of hoping it would have been, so they've got a bit more control over things, but not yet. People do this stuff for free, so it's not a problem. Guy might be busy, but or working out how to do stuff. It might be, this stuff is hard sometimes. You know, I'm not complaining, just stating that I had looked. But another thing, I'm not going to get rid of the Deutz. The Deutz is staying. I might have said that earlier. Anyway, yeah, the Deutz is staying. We're looking for a complementary vehicle, possibly even a telehandler. Got the like a Merlot would work. A Merlot, a fabulous Merlot, would be lovely. Something like that, or just installed the Fendt Favorite 500. That would be perfect, actually. Would fit in with the other tractor that we've got, front loader, perfect size, so something like that maybe. But we need to get more cows. We need to therefore earn more cash, and then we can think about another tractor. But actually we need another tractor to be able to load the feed mix, so maybe a new tractor first, then more cows. I need to keep an eye on the sales, and it might just be driven by what we can get cheap that looks like it'll work. But yeah, this guy is staying. Do not worry. This is too cool to sell. This might stay on the farm forever. Yeah. Oh, headache kicking in. It's making finishing this rather tricky, which is annoying because I'm supposed to be going out for a 3-hour run this evening. To break out to the old pain meds after this. But yeah, just getting the entrance tidied up with the Deutz, and then we will finish compacting and leveling. And we'll be good. Just the soybeans to go. It is /was FarmCon this weekend. If any of you have been, possibly not, I guess, because a trip to Austria is not cheap. I'm not there, obviously. Maybe not obviously, but I'm not. I don't know, some of you might have gone, actually. I know, I think some of you may have gone for socializing reasons. If you have, I hope you have enjoyed it and socialized sensibly. Yeah. Not for me. Not for me. Partly because of that whole socializing. And it's just well, it's not a long way, but you know what I mean. Having fallen out of love with the game, going to something like that was a bit of a stretch. And then falling back in. Anywho, I guess if it's not too late already, keep an eye on YouTube, because last year people were streaming bits of it live. Whether Lintner has good enough coverage and Wi-Fi for people to do that this time, I don't know. But anywho, we are done. So, yep, 225,000 litres compacted and covered. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click the like button. Thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. And I will see you all next time.